Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jak 2 Renegade on the Sony PlayStation 3. I am One Wild Sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be entering the weapons facility, which is on the opposite end of the island from the... we're still on the same island when we did that drill platform mission way back when. The opposite end of the island is where the weapons facilities actually is. And thanks to Ashlyn's glorious ID card, beforehand we weren't able to actually access this, and now we are able to. So up to this ominous looking Aztec doorway thing, and inside we go. Now this mission by here is kind of it's not too difficult. Like, I can get through this mission just fine, but there is a lot of action, there's a lot of fighting. And you basically need to be knowledgeable with your weaponry in order to get through this. You know, you need to know gunplay through and through. And it also has quite a nice couple of platforming challenges as well. And as you know about me by this point, I love myself some platforming. Always have, always will. You know, I am a primary focused platformer-based YouTube channel. You know, with the occasional shooter. And action game, but that's beside the point. Anyway, just whenever you see electrical doors, it's usually a switch hanging around nearby that you need to press, which will actually open up the doorway. It's very self-explanatory, and this is a pretty linear mission, you know. Actually, another thing about it, all the missions in this game, bar 1 or 2, are pretty damn linear, you know. It's pretty easy to figure out, I need to go to this area, because it's pretty much a straight line. But one of the big things about the stage are loads of conveyor belts. There's tons and tons of conveyor belts just lying around. And there's loads of switches you need to push using your gun in order to activate the conveyor belts. You know, but I'll talk about them more often now as we get later on in the mission. For now, we got introduced to a brand new enemy type. These here are the Crimson Guard robots. The Crimson bots, if you will. And these are going to be a very big enemy type in the third Jak game, but for now they're really basically exclusive to this mission, you know. They're under production, they're not exactly the same fighting force we're going to be dealing with later down the line. By later down the line, I'm probably on about like in a year or so time for this YouTube channel, depending on how many LPs I plan on doing before Jak 3, but you never know, I might be able to get Jak 3 out this year, it depends, because I'm going to be doing Jak 3 this October. I'm going to be recording it in October. So, yeah, I'll see. If I can edit it and get it all recorded in time, it'll be out the same year this LP's out, but I'm not promising anything. Anyway, be careful of all these saw blades by here, because if they clip you, well, bye-bye. They will hurt, you know? As saw blades do, you're not going to tickle, are they? And like I said, there's lots of platforming involving switches and what have you. Whenever you see a red, like, bullseye marker on something, it usually means you can usually shoot it and drop it down, like those two platforms. But I shoot those down, and now we can use those platforms in order to jump on up, which is very handy, you know, very handy. Although I have one major complaint with this mission, and it's the fact that there's no music. There is no soundtrack to this mission whatsoever. All you hear is the gunfire and all the conveyor belts moving. And it makes a nice atmosphere, you know, having no music. It gives you that sort of tense, sort of I'm raiding the factory feeling, but I don't know. I think I would probably like to have a little bit of atmosphere here, you know, folks? You know, just some sort of musical track I can chuck in the background. And whoa! Whoa now, PlayStation, calm down. You know it's bad news when your PS3 stops rendering the floor, isn't it? Oh god, it kind of reminds me of like Sonic Generations, like Sonic Unleashed. Like the way those games work, if you go to a certain point, then the rest of the level loads, and if you're good enough, you can skip the points where the level decides to load, so you can play on invisible levels. I used to love doing that on like Seaside Hill. That was a good mission, good level to do that on. But yeah, if this is something interesting as well. Whenever you do a kick move, your hitbox does get larger. So whenever something's just out of reach and something's unavailable for you to pick up, you fret not, because it's still possible to pick up the item. You know, just kick everything and you should be fine. And one thing I'm really glad they didn't bring back from the Crash Bandicoot series is the fact of the way the spin stove works in the Crash Bandicoot series. Because if you remember in Crash Bandicoot, if you spin a certain item like fruit or a collectible that you feel like you need, what will happen is instead of the fruit being collected by you, it will be sent flying. You know, you're gonna. It's not a good thing if you spin fruit in that game, or an extra life, for example, which always makes me cringe and cry whenever I spin and a life gets sent flying away. You know, it's saddening. It's really saddening. But anyway, as you can tell, that's giant button there is protected by a force field, so in order to push that button we have no choice but to destroy these crimson mechs basically. But what the best way to take these guys down is either bring out your Vulcan barrel gun or just spam the jump spin strategy or spin shoot strategy that from this point onwards in the game we're going to make a lot of use of. You know, like earlier on in the game you're usually better off just by aiming your gun and sort of directing your weapon and gunfire, but because of how quickly you get shot at around this point in the game, this end game areas, it's usually best just to spin jump and hope that you kill people. But I digress. Hey, oh, direct shot. Oh my god, that's it's delicious. Oh, I feel all tingly inside because of that. Oh my. Ooh. It's a sort of like a knot puzzle by here as well, so just spin kick the thingies and you can move the platforms. It's very simple. I guess I was lying before. Like, I remember saying before that the laser, there's not a laser on the Peacemaker. I think I might have, I was lying. There is a laser on the Peacemaker. I just don't think I've really ever noticed it before. So that's probably why I never used the Peacemaker to aim at things. So, oops. I lied on accident. What can I say? I never noticed the laser before. So, but anyway, I digress. It's time to move on and continue with the rest of this mission, shall we? Now we're actually heading up to the final room of the entire mission, which is literally right by here. So just get your weapons at the ready. And what you're going to see me do right now is I'm actually going to pull out the Peacemaker. Because the Peacemaker, like I said, is the most powerful gun in the game, so it does a lot of damage. And plus, one unique attribute about the Peacemaker that I don't think I've really touched upon is that enemies nearby each other will actually get affected by the Peacemaker. So the Peacemaker shots will actually home in and attack multiple enemies, but honestly, it's not the most useful against these sort of guards, so I'm quickly switching over to the Blaster, because as much as I like using the Peacemaker, wasting ammo on these goons is probably not a good idea. It's best to use that weapon for like boss fights, because the way the boss fights take damage, you know? Well, with the exception of the next boss is pretty easy in how it takes damage, because if you remember, a lot of the boss fights previously, you have like a temporary invincibility frames whenever you shoot them. The upcoming boss fight doesn't really have invincibility frames. It's so you can just spam blasts on him until he dies. Although you can, and saving the Peacemaker ammo is usually very good for this upcoming fight. I don't know if I do use the Peacemaker in the boss fight coming up, but hey, I digress. Here we go.
I knew you were special when I first met you, Jack. And I commend you for making it this far. We've come a long way, eh?
Yeah, I'm getting real teary-eyed.
I love weapons. I love how they look, how they feel, even how they smell.
I think you need serious help.
My favorite was the impossibly powerful weapon Ma built to blast open the metal head nest. Poor fool died before he could use it. Ah, well. But I have a new favorite, the piercer bomb I've just completed. My masterpiece is powerful enough to crack open the precursor stone and release the untold energy inside. As soon as the Baron shows up with the stone, we'll hide it in the last shipment of Eco and deliver it to the metalhead nest. A surprise dessert, eh? Just take this gun upgrade and forget what you saw here.
Not this time, crew. I'm through being your hired gun.
Then it's war, isn't it? Let me
You know,
introduce you.
I love how Crew gave us the weapon just before the boss fight, you know. And here's an upgrade. Oh, right, you're fighting me, great. But I'm not actually sure what upgrade he gave us. I think he gave us extra ammo for our main blaster, I could be wrong. But anyway, for this first phase of this boss fight right here, Crew is going to send out all these green clones of himself that look a lot like Slimer from Ghostbusters. It makes sense, Crew is a slimy bastard after all. So just kill all of these things by shooting them. It's usually pretty tricky to deal with, so I advise simply going around the arena. If they touch you, they will hurt, so keep away from them. After you kill all of them, though, Crew will become very vulnerable, so just keep blasting him as much as possible. Every time you hit him, he does go flying, and it's kind of awkward to deal damage to him. Of course, when you do hit him, he will occasionally try to shoot you as well, so just be a bit careful of that. But between the phases when you have these green Slimer goons chasing after you, this is the hard part of the boss. This is the parts of the boss you're probably going to die on. Like the part where you're fighting Crew himself, easy peasy lemon squeeze. You can get through that without any deal. But every phase, these Slimer thingies will come in faster quantity, well, a bigger quantity, and they'll come at you faster, I should say. So, just get all your weapons ready, get all your fast shooting weapons out, and it's usually the best way to deal with them. They also drop ammo on occasion as well, which makes things a bit easier I mean. Although, I don't know why am I not using the Peacemaker? That would make it so much easier to deal damage. I mean, the damage that the Peacemaker would do on this guy is insane, so I'm being an idiot here and not using it. But the blaster is like one of the best weapons you can use. And it's one of the only weapons you can use in rapid succession, I guess, against this boss fight, because when you use a Vulcan cannon, for some reason he only takes damage once from the Vulcan cannon, and then he just gets stunned for the rest of it, so it can be kind of awkward. Although when you're at this phase, get on your hoverboard. One of the best things about the hoverboard is simply whenever you go and run over crates, the ammo inside each of these crates will automatically go over you whenever they automatically collect the ammo. So go on your hoverboard, which is a good way to get away from these goons. And I'm using, actually the Peacemaker's pretty damn effective by here, Jesus. But yeah, use the hoverboard to get away from the goons, and scattergun and whatnot's a good way to take them out, you know. Just keep experimenting with the weapon, and whatever you personally find best is probably a good weapon to use by here. The scattergun is very useful though. Scattergun and blaster combo is usually what I mainly go with in this boss fight, you know, folks? But yeah, we've seen practically everything in this boss fight. It's not the most original boss in the world, you know, it does its job. Although the only problem with using the scattergun against these goons is simply whenever you can get too close to these enemies quite easily, and I'm one hit point away from dying, folks, so I'm very lucky that I didn't die in this boss run here, see? It can be very tricky. But with that, Crew is done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it too late to give my notice?
Yeah, we quit.
The city is already dead. I've sold you all out.
Jack, I think maybe we should be anywhere else just about now.
Ashley.
We're out of here. You guys find my father. I'll take the heart of Marta Kira for you. I'm sorry it's come to this.
Well, I heart that boss fight. That was actually a really good boss, and yeah. Crew, ladies and gentlemen, is no more. But yeah, who knew Hearty Blue? I love the wordplay in all these achievements. I'm convinced that trophies and achievements exist purely because developers like wordplays. I am convinced. But I digress. That is it for this part pretty much, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And when we return next time, folks, we'll be doing the penultimate part and preparing ourselves for the final battle against the Metalhead armies. That's right, folks. We are very close to the end of the game. We are almost done with the LP. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. I'll catch you all then. Bye!